Yo, folks, you know who it is. Your favorite people's favorite people. What's going on? Oh, wait, what happened? What happened?
I felt like I was I'm sitting down, before the movies when they're pouring the Coca-Cola and then they're popping the popcorn and then it's like because when you said I'll see you in a minute, I was like, what?
Why would you see me in a minute? What's going on? No, me, the dramatic effect, man. I feel like we haven't spoken in a long. Actually, haven't spoken like this in a little bit. We've been cooking, man. How you been?
Man, life is good, man. Just busy, 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 prepping for something. What am I
What is
prepping
that?
for? There's something going on in
Oh,
October.
what could it be?
Something I think the great the greatest higher educational collaborational experience ever. Maybe. I don't know.
Ooh, yeah.
I think that's something I'm prepping for. What about you?
Same thing, man. Outside, babies and stuff. That going on.
Ah,
This deal in October, which promises to be an amazing experience for whoever decides to be there and register with us. So the NAMCA Hip Hop Leadership and Lyrics Conference. Really excited about that, and making sure the right folks get in the right room to have the right kind of experience. So obviously, gotta have some showcases, but beyond that, our ed talks and higher
mm,
ed pros that are able to really get a chance to highlight themselves and be high lit. I don't know if that's the word. I think I made that up. Not highlighted, but high lit.
I
And
lit. I think that's something that the young folks say. Maybe.
yeah,
Who
that's right.
knows?
That and cap. I don't really know how to use those in proper text yet, but I try to throw in a cap and a lit every few months. I haven't hit pay dirt yet.
I love it. Well, I think, man, the biggest question is why should people come? Why should professionals come to the event that NAMCA is hosting? I'll throw that to you.
Cool. I think in part there's I won't say break up the monotony, but giving themselves an opportunity to shine in a new environment and build relationships in a fresh way. Is there a way to get away from, random ed sessions and breaking away, hoping to have a similar and liked experience? And, is there a way to have a lot of energy and education in the same space? Is there a way to uh, address and speak to, some of the, let's say the jaded professionals or the professionals that may feel overworked and underappreciated? Is there a way to creatively do that and while building people from the inside out? And this is what that is in a creative way, especially given our themed party that we're going to have Friday night. I think that is Friday night. And you, what's your thought? Why would someone want to? Why would a higher ed pro decide to come?
Simply put, and I know this is going to turn some people off, but I also hope that this is going to turn some people on to the idea that we're at a literal war. There are a lot of things going on in the country. We're going into a presidential year. We know that there's an attack on diversity, equity, inclusion. We know there's an attack, a literal attack. There are laws that say that you can't teach diversity, equity, inclusion in government sanctioned entities and public universities. And it's a war going on. And if you know that there's a war going on, you have to bear arms. You have to come together and figure out how to your point, grow from the inside out. And this is the only place that it's going to be done in this way. Because when you talked about the breaking up the monotony of just the ed sessions, if you all are watching and listening, when you go to a conference, it's one of those situations where you go to a movie, you go to a friend's house and watch the fight or watch something. Entertain me. That's what it is. Entertain me. Who's going to be the key speaker that's coming up that I can listen to and maybe get a chance to take a picture with if I respect them? What's an ed session that I'm going to meander over to because I don't really know who's giving the presentation? It seems like something's cool. With this experience, you're going to be in a collaborative type of space where Stan has something to say about turning yourself on and being the best that you can be, best on the inside and out. Stan's going to talk about how to do that. Then when he does that, we all get to say, wow, that's a great idea. That's something that I could use on my campus. That's something I can use for my professionals. When I get up and talk about belonging and the 6 steps to belonging as far as impact goes, we'll say, wow, I never thought about it that way. This is what I got from it. And we'll all be able to share those ideas and we'll be able to collaborate together versus, hey, what ed sessions you going to? Well, I'm about to go to the room and get a nap in real quick, or I'm about to hop on the Zoom real quick. We're all going to be together. So I think that it's a war. We have to get ready and we have to prep for what's coming, because 2024 is going to be some, what. And I think a lot of people are missing that point. So that's my plug for it.
That's really great. You mentioned that. I think folks maybe it's the conspiracy theorist in me. Like, just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not after you. It's like there's so much going on. There's so much distraction, there's so much noise. I don't think people are equipping themselves for 2024. And even though we just experienced the pandemic and we're still in that in so many ways, but we're so distracted by what may be funny or catchy, you name it, that we're not preparing this for what 2024 might be. As you said, the election year, that's major. Something emotional, something that is very emotionally triggering, economically triggering, and professionally triggering. And beyond that, a couple of years ago, a lot of our colleagues and friends lost their jobs or had to move to different places. And this is an opportunity to truly engage in a space meant for people that obviously look like us, but those folks who feel like they've been forgotten. Like, this isn't the place for the cool crowd. And by cool crowd, I mean, there are a lot of organizations and associations. It's like, if you're a new member, you don't get to say anything. You don't get to talk. You don't get to present. You don't get called on. I've been that young professional at those association events. I've been that young speaker at those events where you don't really get a chance to have meaningful conversations and collaborations with people. This is everything that, people have been asking for. And also on the 50th year anniversary of hip hop. I know you didn't expect.
Yo. What it do? It's Odell Bazell, rap son. Get you choked up like Latrell Sprewell. You don't want none.
Oh, I've heard that bar before. Had you been holding on to that? Is that one of your tracks? I hadn't heard that before.
Honestly, that is the first ever rhyme that I ever wrote. First ever rhyme that I ever wrote when I was 13.
Up like Latrell Sprewell.
That's a throwback. Some of y'all don't know nothing about that.
I like that. Google Latrell Sprewell after you leave here. Not right now. After you're
But
done.
you mentioned something, man. You mentioned financially, and this is something that I'm going to stop pulling back from. Okay. And this is something that's hidden in higher ed. A lot of times there's this existential kind of figurative thing about education. Look at me in my eyes. For those of you watching, if you're not watching, if you're listening, just listen to me with your soul. You go to school to make more money. Period. That is the overall benefit. We all know the Bureau of Labor of Statistics. We all know all that stuff. Odds are, if you go to get an advanced degree, bachelor's, a master's, PhD, the goal in your mind is to make more money. What has happened is that people are getting these advanced degrees, but they're getting more and more debt. So you might have a PhD, but now you have a pretty huge debt that you have to pay off. And what we've done in NAMCA, and I said I'm going to start being more upfront about this, we've taken our dollars, our marketing dollars, and put them in the pockets of individuals in higher education to come to our virtual events. Over $30,000 since we started. No other association does that. Now, maybe there's a reason for it that we'll discover in year 5. But as of now, nobody else has done that. And so that also is going to couple into when we're talking about how you can use your expertise and how you can use your education, how you can use your positioning to make more money in an ethical way. Because it seems like, and as speakers, as those that work with with colleges and universities, whenever you have the money talk, people, you can't. In fact, and I'll say this because I'm feeling some type of way today in a good way. I've even been vilified in certain areas because I went on platforms and talked about, hey, there's money here for speakers. People have said, oh, no, you don't want to talk to Odell because Odell is going to do what? Is going to give people more opportunities. Like, if I'm going to be vilified for that, then that's fine. But if you're an educator watching and listening, there's money for you.
Yeah.
You can do part-time work, part-time consulting, and make money. There are pockets of money for you. If you're somebody that's a speaker and you're trying to figure out, how do I navigate the bureaucracy? How do I get through all the political mumbo jumbo? Come to NAMCA. We're going to tell you what it is and what it isn't. And no other association is going to do that. They're going to have, it's going to be the same thing. Like I said, concert, you're going to come in. Oh, this person has a great assessment that they do. This is incredible. We can take this back to our school. Yay, disc assessment or whatever it is. It's educational entertainment, which is fine, which is valuable. Ours is just different. That's all.
Man, thank you for being so transparent. Usually that's, I don't mind jumping in the deep end on that. I think, and it's funny because there's been a lot of tests, a lot of trials. We've, because it wasn't like, we're like, hey, rich uncle, give us some money. And with that money, we want to pay some people some of which we've never met in our lives. We don't know them. But we've been ultra intentional for a few years now, which is exciting to think about. I saw like a Facebook reminder of some memories of like our first NAMCA event some years back. And again, the ultimate truth was, I think we shied away from this too, is like, hey, giving people the head start that we never got. So in part, that was one for speakers, and educating them on the business of speaking, and not just being good on stage, but to Odell's credit, but being good behind in the back office, knowing the right things to say, and connecting with a higher ed professional or a person who can book you, speaking their language and truly serving them, not just for a check, but from the idea for checking yourselves inside and collectively. And when we say up to this point, probably we've trained a few hundred speakers, and
209.
209. Odell knows, to be specific. We've trained 209 speakers who now speak the language so much better, certifying those speakers so that when they go to an event, they're prepared and they represent themselves and the association well. And when we speak to the $30,000+ we've paid in higher ed professionals, that's just what we know of. And also training them to leverage the knowledge. If you are watching this, higher ed professional, like helping you really understand your expertise and then leveraging that wherever you go, so you can make an additional $5,000 or $10,000 or an additional $1,000 a year. I don't know, whatever, a lot of money. So you could be in a position where you go, hey, what's that rent? If I made rent every month just in this extra thing that I already know how to do, if somebody could teach me how to do that within the realm of what I already do, that makes me a more experienced and prepared professional in my position now. If that existed, would you take the opportunity and come to the NAMCA Hip Hop Leadership in New York's conference? The answer is a resounding yes, honestly, because if someone else was going to do what we've been doing for the last few years now, they would have done it already. They would have done it. We've done a lot of research and development. Heck, we have tried to even collaborate with other organizations and associations. And for whatever reason, it just hasn't happened, which has really helped us be more courageous in our approach to saying, hey, you watching this is for you. If you feel like you're being looked over, if you feel like you can go no further under, this is for you. If you feel like you've been forgotten as a new professional, this is for you, to ignite you, to inspire you, and to connect with a like mind. Odell often says, and I'll throw it back to him, this is when I think the iPod, when Steve Jobs, the iPod, or when Amazon was selling only books, like this is there. And it's wild to say that because we've already been here for a few years now. The NAMCA name is now known a bit more, and we're really excited. And beyond that, for those of you all who don't know, it's the only. Can I say this? Oh, I know
Yeah, say it.
yeah, it's the only association owned and operated by Black folks with the
100%.
100%, 100% that is dialed into obviously helping everyone. I shouldn't have to say that because we do help everyone, but has a specific notion, ideology, and desire to help Black, brown, and women. That's where
For
we
sure.
are. Like
Yeah, man.
and that's what we've done.
And what's so beautiful about what you said is this is just the beginning. This is something, and for better or for worse, and I think in some ways it hurts us in some ways, because we've been the faces, we've been the people out front. If you go to another association or conference, you kind of don't know who's behind it.
Yeah.
So, in a lot of ways, that brings more trust because, oh well, if 1,000 people run here every year, it must be legit. You know what I mean? Versus with what we do, and so a part of it, like we understand that, and that's why with this first one, we want a small intimate group. We don't want 500, 600 people. We can't even accommodate that many people. But for those of you that take advantage of the opportunity, you're going to get in on the ground floor. And when Stan talked about Amazon, we talked about, the iPod when Apple was just doing iPods and all that good stuff. Certain people wish, gosh, if I would have been 18, I wasn't even, 18 when all that stuff was happening. But if I had been old enough and wise enough to put some money away, invest in the stock market at this time when Apple stock was $20 or whatever, where would I be now? And with NAMCA, and for the NAM fam, the people that have been with us from day one, they benefited the most because they've stuck around the longest. And it's going to be the same situation for those that come to the first conference. You're going to be able to look back or look forward, or however you do it in 2 years, 3 years. And you're going to say, wow, we're at the first one. I remember when it was just 100 people in here. Now look at it. And you will have a piece of that legacy, and you'll be able to move that. And this is something that I forgot to say, and I believe me and Stan didn't say. For those of you that sign up for the pre-conference, you're going to get 2 certifications. You're going to get a public speaking certification, and you're going to get a project management certification. What does that mean, and why is that important, and why is that valid? Well, first of all, that means that public speaking, you'll be certified. Public speaking is a high income, high impact skill. You can use that better when you're running meetings. You can feel more confident. You can do that better when you're giving presentations at different associations, at different conferences you go to. That can put you in a position to be promoted better. You can get better interviews. Public speaking is what me and Stan call the cheat code to success in life. If you can be a better public speaker, you can do it all. You might be thinking, well, who's going to be training us? I mean, who's backing this? Well, I speak for me personally. I know that I've given over 1,000 presentations, not all paid, but I know I've given over 1,000 presentations publicly. I don't know Stan and what he's done, but I've been speaking professionally since 2008. Who better to train you than individuals who have collectively over 30 years of paid speaking experience in higher education? Who better? That's what I would say. As far as project management goes, we have a team with NAMCA. It's not just us, but we have a team that can help show you how to manage projects, people, and passions, and show you how to turn small budgets into big, impactful events. So we're going to be having that opportunity for you to do that, and you'll walk away with the certification. So, I mean, all the stuff we've talked about is really cool, obviously, and we want you to be a part of it, but you'll actually be able to walk away with something that you can use to move your career forward.
Wow. And, really quickly, I know we'll hop out of here in a moment. The reason why this is important is, there's nothing, it's one thing you calling yourself great, but there's other people to be able to connect with people who can validate that. You know, I don't need anyone's validation. Oh, well, but promotions and raises say otherwise. I'm not thinking about the world I wish existed. I'm thinking about the world that we live in, and it's very much relationship based and connecting in the proper way. And there are skills that you have that you have yet to learn how to leverage. And whether it be sales or presenting, again, collectively, Odell and I alone, not to mention the ed talks that are going to happen. Like this is how we've lived. We've lived this and researching and interviewing hundreds of people outside of thousands of presentations, and then going, hey, this is how you too can do this. And here's something else that's really, really important. And it was a long time ago, but as a former higher ed pro, one thing that I really started to lean into was learning from people I knew had either more skill or experience than I did. I was always comfortable speaking in front of people, but speaking in front of people sometimes for free isn't the same as someone that has something on the line. It's different. So when I'm in the car driving someone back to the airport who's a professional speaker that I just paid $4,000 or $5,000 for whatever reason, you might be thinking I could do that, but they might be doing something, just a little something that you aren't doing yet, either on stage, via an email, in a presentation, during a pitch, because you have to understand any professional, and we won't speak to everyone else, but Odell and I, while the average professional might interview for a job maybe 5 times in 5 years. Well, now it's changed a little bit. Maybe I'll say 3 times in a year. Let's just say, because there are a lot of folks, there are some folks out there who would never tell their employer that they're trying to apply somewhere else. So let's just say for fun, someone interviews 4 times a year. The truth is, Odell and I probably interview 150 times a year. And that's not a made up number. We interview almost every other day, either for speaking presentations or someone who's interested in being a client or a company that wants to hire us. At least 150 times a year, we interview or we pitch. So while I know that there's a lot of presenting that goes on, that is one of the greatest impacts that you could have on your own career, is certifying yourself as a speaker and in project management by people and team who've collectively do this all the time. So you're not just giving a presentation because you're the one that's most outgoing, because that often happens. When I worked in higher ed, I was one of the more outgoing people. So I was pushed to present, not because I was great, but because I was more outgoing than everyone else. And maybe that's you. But what if you got better? What if you knew how to properly leverage? What if you knew how to properly leverage your ability as a speaker and sharpen those skills to make you more of an asset to the school that you're working for? And because you're that asset, they send you to more places. And because they send you to more places, you're able to meet more people. And because you meet more people, you're able to have more opportunities. And this is one of them.
Yeah, man. Oh, man, I'm excited. I'm excited, boy. I'm excited. October 19th, we're doing the pre-conference. Make sure that you go to NAMCAonline.com/hip-hop. If you go to NAMCAweb.com, every button you push is going to take you there. So it's all good if you go to NAMCAweb.com. But I'm excited to see everybody and meet everybody. We already have, I believe, 18 speakers slotted to do 20, because 20 speakers to do ed talks. If you are somebody who is in higher ed and you want to submit a proposal, make sure that you do that. We will be reviewing proposal. We review them weekly, and we will be finalizing our schedule soon. So make sure that you do that. It is a hip hop themed conference. I am the resident hip hopper on the NAMCA board. No matter what Angel Howard says, no matter what she says, I am the resident hip hopper. I was listening to some of my music yesterday, man, when I was working out. I was like, gosh, really? It's like, man, I would have been a great professional rapper, because I don't even do it. Like, I don't even do it on a regular basis. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I did it on a regular, oh my gosh, like the Hooper. Like the person that you see hooping is like, I know that he works at UPS, but he be killing. Like, how is he so good? I know he doesn't have time. His back's gotta hurt.
The packages ain't open.
But yeah, make sure that y'all come. Get the pre-conference if you can. One thing that we're doing, I can't wait to see the whites of Stan's eyes when I say this. If you get the pre-conference, you get to bring a student leader for free. You get to bring a student leader for free.
That's how you know it wasn't rehearsed.
I knew it. But yeah, if you get the pre-conference, go to the page, get to bring a student leader for free. Students are welcome to come. Students are encouraged to come. It's going to be a magical time. We have space for 150 people, I believe. Does that sound about right?
Yes.
150 people.
Yes.
So yeah, the door is open. Stan, close us out with some good stuff.
Folks, you know, as I always like to tell people that effort on fire beats knowledge on ice. So this is one of those times you're like, I've been looking for the opportunity. If something could just be for me, all this talk about, I think affirmative action was a deal. And we we're like, you know what? I think O said it's time for affirmative reaction. It is time to put your effort where your mouth is. That's where we are now. Put your effort where your mouth is. And that is being an advocate. I suppose you could be an advocate for everyone else on the planet, but we really want to show you and teach you how to be a better advocate for yourself, because the better you are, the better everything is around you. And that's what we want. That's who you want to be, because you have to understand that you're good, you're great, and you're absolutely worth it. So that being said, make sure you click on something, or comment in the comments. How can I register? I want to register now. Do that. And certainly, if you're interested in presenting one of the ed talks as a higher ed professional, make sure you fill out that the form as well, because we'd love to hear some of your expertise. And you know what? It'd be really cool if you did one of those ed talks and then it got filmed, and then you could leverage that to bolster your career in the field of higher education after attending the pre-conference, where we let you know all the tips and tricks you can do from the stage to be undeniably amazing. Anyway, that's just me spitballing. That being said, have an amazing day. Remember, you're good, you're great, and you're worth it. Talk to y'all soon, y'all. Peace.